Good morning, everyone. It's Dustin with East Tennessee Mentorship Association. This is your bonus mental health tip of the week. What? That's 2 in 2 days. So I'm wearing my State Farm shirt. I worked for State Farm for 6 months. I worked for Mike Masaglia State Farm in Oak Ridge. I had a great experience there. I learned some leadership lessons. I learned about entrepreneurship. And I still have a good relationship with Mike. He's a friend and a mentor of mine. Call him for your insurance needs. And specifically, Mike, thank you for your sponsorship. But specifically, check out life insurance. Like, during my 6 months in the insurance industry, what blew my mind the most was how few people have life insurance, for one, how cheap it is, for another, and finally, the experience of being able to watch someone walk in the office who just lost a loved one and walk out with a check and know that they're financially taken care of, that's just huge. And you want to change your family's social class. If you want to do that, life insurance is a really good way to do it. I'm in some kind of elite preferred status of health because I never go to the doctor. But I have maybe 300 grand or something for the family, and I want to say, it's definitely less than $100 a month. So I die, my family gets 300 grand. They pay off the mortgage. I'm not trying to sell you anything. It's just common sense. Like, why would we not take care of our families like that? So call Mike and ask about life insurance. The bonus mental health tip that I had in mind was I was raised by a brick mason, Norman Tanner, my stepdad, great man. He taught me some lessons from the job site. One of which I've mentioned before, which is keep your head down, lay brick. Don't worry about what everyone else is doing. Do your job. And I was getting ready this morning, and I thought of another lesson from the job site, and that's what I wanted to bring up. And back in the day, when I was growing up, when I was maybe kid, early teenager, brick masons could get jobs where they had a quota to meet, and when they met the quota, they got to go home for a full day's pay. So maybe the quota was 1,000 brick. I don't know. I'm not a mason. But it seems like it was, maybe 1,500 brick or something like that. And so Norman would get there early. He would finish his quota by lunchtime, and he'd pack up and go to another job that he was running on the side because he had six kids to feed. And one day, a bunch of members of the crew kind of got together and came over to him like, hey, man, you're making us look bad. Like, you can't be laying this many brick. Like, I've been a mason for 15 years, and you're making me look like, a chump. And of course Norman told him, mind their own business, and he kept doing what he was doing and feeding his family and keeping his head down, laying brick. But the point is, when you are a high performer, people are challenged by that, and they're intimidated and threatened by that because they see what you're doing and they know they could be doing more. They don't want to do more. How is that your problem? People are like, hey, you've got really too much on your plate. You need to take your foot off the gas. You need to slow down sometimes. How are you going to blah, blah, blah? No, you know what you're capable of. You know what your potential is. And if people are coming out of the woods to just be negative toward you for no reason, it has nothing to do with their perception of you. And it has everything to do with the fact that they're challenged by the amount you're doing. So, keep your head down, lay brick. Keep your eyes focused on your goals, because nobody works as hard as you do unless they have goals. So achieve them. As long as you stay on the path, I think everyone has an idea of how to get to where they want to go. And when you're doing it and when you're not. And I think that's why Gary Vaynerchuk talks about enjoying the path as much as the end result. And it's because, I know when I'm on the path, I know I'm trying to grow a business. And at the end of the day, at the end of every day, I know whether I kind of hit my mark for the day or whether I slacked off or whether I took a rest day. When you are self-actualizing, you don't doubt it. You know it. There's a specific process, and there's a lot of pressure, and it's a lot of work. And you don't need anybody to say, hey, man, you're really self-actualizing right now. Because you're going half mad with the amount of work you're doing with an end goal in mind. And so when people come out and try to dissuade you or discourage you from doing what you're doing, just don't even let it in. It will get in subconsciously. You can't block it out because everyone has that mechanism of, can I accomplish what I want to accomplish in the world? We all have that self-doubt. And so when people bring it up, it just it amplifies that sound in your mind. But what you can do is you can acknowledge that, like, wow, this person really is, because they perceive that you're on the path to self-actualization, and they perceive that they are not. And at no point in history was it written that everyone can or will or even should self-actualize. But if you're a person with a vision, if you're a person with something in your soul that must occur, then you will not be able to relate to people who don't have that. And so when everyone else from the job site comes and tells you you're laying too many bricks, tell them to focus on their own work, tell them not to be intimidated, give them a little pat on the back and a hug, and keep doing what you got to do. Thanks so much. Call Mike.